people, can we please have seats? We're going to get started.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Columbus, an inclusive religious community of people supporting each other in truth and meaning. The chalice is a symbol of Unitarian Universalism. It speaks to us of reason, tolerance, and freedom, and also of compassion, respect, and love. May its flame ever warm and illuminate our lives. Okay, by way of announcements this morning, next Sunday we're going to try to have an outdoor service like this again, weather permitting. Ron Usry will give us a program on Ralph Waldo Emerson, the father of modern UU. If you need to use the restroom today, we've got the ramp door is unlocked, and we've got the door propped open actually, so you don't have to touch it. Hand sanitizer right outside the restrooms. For our offering today, please drop off your offering at the basket that you see in the back there. We will not be passing the basket during offering. We're still collecting coats for Pas Amigos. See Junie Barnett if you have any coats at home. I know we do. I got to go through the closet again. Are there any other announcements that I may have skipped? If we do, we have a microphone right here, a hands-off mic that you can come to and use. We'll also be using this during Joys and Concerns. Okay? One of the ways we proclaim the vitality of our fellowship is through sharing brief and personal joys and concerns. I'll start by lighting a candle for our unspoken fears. Next, I'd like to light a candle for our President and First Lady. Hope that they and anyone else who has contracted the virus, we wish them a speedy recovery. We wish to also light a candle for our member, Harry Underwood. He contracted COVID. He was in the hospital. He's home now, and he has posted this on Facebook, so it is public knowledge now that he does not have a job at the moment and has no insurance. So the bills are piling up. He has started a GoFundMe page to help pay, and Bill Harlan is going to put together a link this morning to his GoFundMe page on our UU website. So let's help out Harry, and I'll light a candle for him as well. And I'm so used to wearing this, I forgot. I can take it off. I'm far enough away. So. I think I would have realized it when I tried to blow out the candle. They work pretty good. It's pretty difficult. You have to really huff and puff on that. And now I'll open up the floor to any joys, concerns that you may have. You can come up. They can use our hands-free mic.
You're going to have to turn it on, Rick.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. We'll come use the mic.
I'm so happy to be back with my friends.
Okay. Yes, Dick.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for coming yesterday, those who came, and this is just a wonderful place for my 90th birthday party. It was really great. The drive-through was really unique, I thought. I haven't seen it before. I understand other people are doing it now. And this is just a wonderful place and wonderful people, and thank you so much.
Yes, Dick, I have that written down right here. I knew I skipped something. Yes, his drive-by birthday. Now, he may not want everyone to know, but again, this is public knowledge. You are now 90 years old, correct?
Correct.
Yes, Connie.
I have a little belated present for Dick. It's on the table by the by the hand gel. So Dick, y'all help me remember to remind Dick to pick it up. I forgot to give it to you yesterday, so it's there.
Okay, in case you didn't hear, Dick, you have a present on the table in the back by the hand sanitizer.
Rick,
Got the tissues?
And the tissues are next to it, yes.
Rick, Rick, I'm not sure if you mentioned this or not. Can you hear
Cannot
me?
hear. No.
I was fiddling with the camera. I'm not sure if you mentioned this or not. But one of my joys is that next week for the Talk on Emerson, we have a very special performance of Dick McMichael as Ralph Waldo Emerson. I learned that Emerson, or Waldo as he liked to be known, Waldo was about 6 feet tall. He had a booming baritone voice. Who does that remind you of? So Dick's going to be reading an excerpt from Emerson's Harvard Divinity School address from 1938, which was very significant, and I'll tell you more about why that's significant next week. Have another couple of joys. Yesterday, Connie and I decided to get a COVID-19 test. We knew we were going to be coming out here today in this group, and we certainly don't want this to be a mass spreading event. So we went and got, we decided at 5:30 p.m. to get a test. We got results by 7 p.m. Of course, we were negative since we're here. But we went to Peachtree Urgent Care over on Macon Road, right at the corner of Macon Road and the bypass, 185, I guess it is now. And they have 15-minute turnaround time on results. And the other joy is that after that, we went over, since we were celebrating, our newly confirmed COVID-free status, we went over and had a wonderful dinner at the District Green vegan restaurant in the Historic District. And it was fantastic. Just a little recommendation. Thank you.
Well, if you have any other joys and concerns that you think of later, you may share that with our President, Hal Majette, or Office Administrator, Brenda Stevens, at uufcga@gmail.com. Now let us once again affirm the 7 principles which sum up the core values that Unitarian Universalist congregations support and promote. Number 1, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. 2, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. 3, the acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations and in society at large. 4, the free and responsible search for truth and meaning. 5, the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process in our congregations and in society at large. 6, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. And number 7, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. And now for our celebration of life toast. Obviously, to be hands-free, we're all doing this in spirit. I am too. This is the prop. But it is all done in spirit anyway. So, we celebrate life. We celebrate life with its beauty and its pain. We lift these cups in tribute to the achievements of human minds and hands, and in sensitivity to the frustrations of misfortune and heartache. Not fixing blame or credit for the outcome of chance, sensing the risk, savoring the joy, sharing it all. Knowing of the certainty of death, and remembering the value of each moment, we drink our toast of celebration to this time, to the future, to each other, to the throbbing of the earth and sea and sky with life. Together, we drink this toast in celebration of life. And now is usually the time in our service that we have our offering. A reminder, though, Whitaker will be playing for us for our offering, but we'll be actually doing the offering after the service. Just drop it in the basket on your way out. Okay. Whitaker? And now a reading from Dana Worsnop. I want to be with people. Often people say that they love coming to a place with so many like-minded people. I know just what they're getting at, and I know that they're not getting it quite right. I don't want to be with a bunch of people who think just like me. I want to be in a beloved community where I don't have to think like everyone else to be loved. I want to be with people who value compassion, justice, truth, and love, though they have different thoughts and opinions about all sorts of things. I want to be with independent-minded people of good heart. I want to be with people who have many names and no name at all for God. I want to be with people who see me in my goodness and dignity, who also see my failings and foibles, and who still love me. I want to be with people who feel their interconnection with all existence and let it guide their footfalls upon this earth. I want to be with people who see life as a paradox and don't always rush to resolve it. I want to be with people who are willing to walk the tightrope that is life and will hold my hand as I walk mine. I want to be with people who let church call them into a different way of being in the world. I want to be with people who support, encourage, and even challenge each other to a higher and more ethical living. I want to be with people who inspire one another to follow the call of the Spirit. I want to be with people who covenant to be honest, engaged, and kind, and who strive to keep their promises and hold me to the promises I make. I want to be with people who give of themselves who share their hearts and minds and gifts. I want to be with people who know the human community is often warm and generous, sometimes challenging, and almost always a grand adventure. In short, I want to be with people like you. Now, I should have mentioned this in the joys and concerns, because in the short little sermon that I'm about to read, I am going to go political a little bit. I've always tried not to do that, but every once in a while, sometimes you just got to say something. It's called following the Spirit. So, human beings are meant to live together. We're social. We are drawn together into tribes and communities, and when our communities become large enough, we form nations. But as with everything in the universe, there is a yin and a yang, a push and a pull, an inside and an outside, a breath in and a breath out. That very nature of our being that pulls us together into families and communities and also makes us so protective of those we bond with, also makes us suspicious and antagonistic towards those outside our group. Here we are in the middle of a pandemic that so far has taken the lives of 1 million people worldwide. And in the middle of this pandemic, we find ourselves involved in a horrendous election cycle. I'm writing this on the day of the first debate between Biden and Trump. A debate that I hadn't seen yet, at least when I wrote this. A debate whose outcome, like the coming 2020 election, I have no idea what it will be. I do know that it's extremely unlikely that any of the debates will change the minds of the voters. We all seem to have made up our minds pretty much on this one. I do know, even before the debate begins, that our current president will interrupt his opponent to prevent him from speaking. It's childish behavior, but it's also a matter of years of public record. The president doesn't like for anyone else to talk unless he agrees with them. I'm not trying to be partisan in saying this, but again, it stands as a matter of public record. Now, my neighbor and I, we get along fine. We have a good relationship. We've had many good-natured, I said that last time too, good-natured conversations over the years, and we borrow each other's tools. But my neighbor is as far apart politically from I as you can get. I wasn't going to politicize our neighborhood, but my neighbor put up 2 Trump signs in his yard, which, of course, is his right. But he also put up a Trump flag. Now, actually, it's an American flag with Trump's name printed across the top of it. Now, in my opinion, no individual should have their name on our flag, especially a politician. It's a symbol that's supposed to represent all Americans, not just an individual. And as an Eagle Scout, that one irritated me far more than the strictly political signs. So I responded by putting out 2 much larger Biden signs. One of them reads, "Veterans for Biden." You see, he's retired Army, so I know he will notice that one. He and I belong to 2 different political tribes, and our Democratic Republic stands on the edge of a knife due to the tensions between those 2 tribes. Russian military intelligence officers hacked into the DNZ and shared political data through a third party. They spread conspiracy theories through social media. They're actively involved in pitting different groups of Americans against each other. The president refuses to commit any resources towards curbing their involvement because they're trying to help him. Journalists attempt to correct the falsehoods they spread, but the president joins in with those in our country who value profit more than democracy. Alternative news has always been a profitable enterprise. Now, Trump did not invent that. And the only way to build a market for alternative news and use it to sell advertising is to attack mainstream media, otherwise known as professional journalism. This has gone on for decades and decades. Trump hasn't invented anything that he's doing. He's just amped it up and repeated it so often that the public has come to accept it as a new normal. It's in times like these that I have to remind myself that the beloved community that we so often speak of is not just a goal, it's a roadmap. The ends do not justify the means, but it is the means that will determine the end. The term beloved community was coined by the early 20th century American philosopher named Josiah Royce, born 1855, died 1916. But most of us learned it not from Royce, but from the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who often spoke of the beloved community as his ultimate goal. At a bus boycott in Birmingham, Alabama, Dr. King was speaking about the larger movement towards which they were building. Dr. King said, "The end is reconciliation. The end is redemption. The end is the creation of the beloved community." It is this type of spirit and this type of love that can transform opponents into friends. It is this love which will bring about miracles in the hearts of men. Our goal is to create a beloved community, and this will require a qualitative change in our souls as well as a quantitative change in our lives. It's important to note not only what Reverend King told us about the beloved community, about what it is, but also take note about what it isn't. It isn't about beating your opponent. It isn't about conquest or revenge or the humiliation of the other side. The beloved community is about utilizing the 6 principles of nonviolence to bring about social transformation. The 6 principles of nonviolence are: 1, nonviolence is a way of life for courageous people. It is an active nonviolent resistance to evil. 2, nonviolence seeks to win friendship and understanding. The end result of nonviolence is redemption and reconciliation. 3, nonviolence seeks to defeat injustice, not defeat people. Nonviolence recognizes that evildoers are also victims. Nonviolence holds that suffering can educate and transform. Nonviolence willingly accepts the consequences of its acts. Number 5, nonviolence chooses love instead of hate. Nonviolence resists violence to the spirit as well as to the body. Nonviolence love is active, not passive. Number 6, nonviolence believes that the universe is on the side of justice. The nonviolence resistor has deep faith that justice will eventually win. Now, I don't really believe that I will change the minds of very many of my friends and families who support the current president and his notion of anti-humanitarian America. All I can do is put a face on the left-leaning attacks on left-leaning liberals like myself. When someone on Facebook says that liberals are trying to destroy America, I can remind them that I'm who they're talking about. I can say to them, guys, you know me. You've known me since high school. You know I love America. You know I enlisted. If need be, I was there to defend my country. You know I don't hate America. But if I try to argue with them, I know that they'll just dig their heels in more. The more I argue, the deeper they will be committed to their cause. Now, the future of our nation depends on that largest group of any election, the 100 million Americans who choose not to vote. We will never have a democratic republic until we can increase the percentage of those who take part in our elections, whichever side they vote on. I doubt that the current political climate will encourage many of them to take part, but the future of our democracy and the goal of building the beloved community lies in studying their views and reaching out to this untapped wellspring of political voters, of potential voters. And thank you for listening. And this is something we haven't been able to do in a long time, our comments. Again, you can use the mic here. It's turned on. I'll check, just make sure that we don't touch it. And you can remove your mask when you're up here close enough, if you would like to.
I'll say one thing.
Okay.
Do I have to come up?
Please
I
do.
don't think we can hear you otherwise. Yes, please.
I wore the right shirt today.
I thought it was going to be cold too. Oh, vote, y'all. Yeah.
So I just wanted to say, tomorrow is the last day to register to vote. So if you haven't, you can still do it online. And if anybody here needs a ride to the polls, I can safely help you if you want to go vote early. So just give me a call. And you're right, we got to get the vote out.
Where are the polls if you want to vote early in person?
At the government center down by the big library, the education building, yeah.
October 12th.
Yeah, starts,
October 12th.
yeah.
I saw when it started, but it didn't say where it was in Skokie
I
County.
think there are going to be some other locations also. Somebody said the River Center garage maybe, but I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you.
And thank you.
Yeah, not only am I a liberal Democrat, but I'm a socialist and a staunch Unitarian. And about 95% of the people in my county disagree with me. And that don't stop me. I think we need to be more aggressive, not violent. But we need to take the Trump people on and let them know that there are people who disagree with them.
I really appreciate you talking about how we could communicate and deal with friends and neighbors. I have long relationships that I don't want to lose. We're maintaining those as best we can, and I think we really can remember what we had before all this, and that's the most valuable and important thing. So, thank you.
And Karen just handed me this. She looked it up quickly when you asked. Early voting sites are set up at the Citizen Services Center, Columbus Health Department, Columbus Civic Center Ice Rink, Columbus Convention and Trade Center, and the newest location is at the Shelby B. Winston Recreation Center. Yes.
Can I point out that the Columbus Health Department has majorly moved Veterans Parkway.
Okay, Columbus Health Department has moved to
The biggest part of it is
biggest-
now
on Veterans Parkway,
the old Virginia School.
the old Virginia School. Okay.
And they have a drop-off ballot box.
And they have a drop-off ballot box. Okay, thank you. Oh.
I just want to thank everybody that's keeping the community alive. I think not everybody sees all the cogs that are going. It's like a closed watch, and the hands are still moving, but a lot of wheels are going. And for just even the smallest things that people do, it makes a difference. So I really, this is just the tip of the iceberg of people coming. Joyce came up with the idea. And we said, yes, it's good to see each other. That's part of our social being. So I thank you all for being here. And there's a lot of other people who are reaching out in different ways. I'm reading a book on fungus. And I know, so there is some analogy here. And that it has all these networks that are out reaching and touching and supporting one another. Like all the trees depend on fungus, providing them nourishment. We're reaching out and touching one another. And I would encourage all of you, please call somebody. Somebody that's not here would be good, because a lot of people need that touch. So thank you for what you're doing. I really appreciate it, and there's just tremendous, I have to say, you know, the production crew of Bill and David and Whitaker and of course Rick, all of this, keeping this going, and Brenda, you know, for putting out the stuff and putting up with my little notes and my strange humor. So I appreciate all that. So thank you very much. And I forgot Ron. Ron, of course. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking on microphones now.
Thank you, Rick. Appreciate that. I might point out, and I think we owe him a thanks, that Rick did this Wednesday night for the YouTube tape, and Whitaker was here Wednesday night. Bill Harlan, I think, may have left us, but Bill, of course, coordinated all that. So they're doing this as an encore performance just for us to be outside, so I thank them. Rick, a friend of ours in town here, witnessed her neighbor across the street put up a huge Trump 2020 sign. So she put up a sign in her yard, bigger than his, that says anybody but Trump 2020. One thing I forgot to mention earlier in Joy's, this speaker, which is the dominant speaker out here, and it was the only speaker for the piano, was donated by Perry Rayleigh. Perry called me just a week ago, and said, I have this speaker that I bought some time back and I've never used. Can the church use it? And I said, can we ever? We certainly can. So if you see Perry, thank him for his donation and tell him how much we appreciate it.
Great.
Can't hear you. Hey, talking to the microphone.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I moved from West Placerville, and it was kind of in the mountains in California, so it wasn't, you know, kind of like the cities, about 60-40 with 60 Republican. But my point in all that is there was a mixture, okay? There'd be some, you know, back to nature hippies, and there'd be some super conservative rifle-toting rednecks, really conservative Christians. They all lived next to each other. But what was really cool about it is we'd get snowstorms and stuff, and they would remind us that you better get along with your neighbor, because